just to start off, I kind of call the entire deck, the deck's called Meet the Millennials. End of the day, whatever, I think a large percentage of what all of you guys are going to be doing is going to be catering to this generation. So when you say millennials, it's the word that's used to define the generation that was born 1980 onwards. They were born with technology. That's the kind of life they lead, and it's very difficult for. I'm one of the millennials. It's very difficult for me to go back and understand how I led a life without Google or Google Maps or Zomato or any of these things. I even forgot. I mean, I remember that at one point in time we used to carry a lot of menu cards in the house, but that memory is almost fading in my head because I can't fathom the fact that I can't look at my phone and then decide where I can order. So that's the generation we're talking to. So that's hence called it Meet the Millennials. So how are they different as a key question? This is a question that you need to answer because these are the highest consumers of your digital sphere. So this is the generation that tweets before they eat. They ask for a Wi-Fi password before they even do a hi-fi. They check into places they want to check out. So this is a completely, I mean, from a outside perspective, like for example, if my dad was to look at it, he's the one who gets annoyed the minute food comes on the table and my sister goes with her phone right on top to click this thing. So for them it looks very trivial, and the generation can seem to be very trivial, but in the middle of all that, they're also way smarter than we think they are. It's a generation that knows the difference between olives and jalapeno, and trust me, I didn't know that difference. When I used to go to Subway to order food, and you could pick and choose, I always got confused between jalapenos and olives, but that's also me. So this is a generation that knows that difference. This is a generation that. So the other day I was at this new brewery called Brewbot, and I was with a bunch of these kids from office, and I happened to love one of their beers, and I said, "Oh, this is brilliant!" And this guy sitting next to me has a statement to make, saying, "I don't think it's brewed perfectly. It's missing A, B, C, D ingredients." And I was looking at him saying, "You've just come out of college. What do you know about brewing beer?" And our man owns a micro brewing kit in his house and has already brewed beer. So and he's brewed beer looking at YouTube videos. So now that's the generation you're talking about, and they are always. This is the generation that's looking for recommendations, looking wherever you go, whatever place you're going to, So I have friends who know the menu of a place which is just opened up. Even before we go there, they know what to order. So if the Bombay canteens come up, they said you have to go there and try their kokila, which is kokum and tequila mixed thing. So they know this because they are researching online. And the biggest thing that that's going to matter to a lot of you here is that the millennials have an opinion, and they have an opinion about everything, and that opinion is going to make a big difference to your lives in that front, because not just do they have an opinion, they also now, because of digital media, have platforms to voice their opinion. So when things are good, if you made a great product, 10 people will say great product. If you made a bad product, 100 people will come and jump at you and say this. So that's something that you need to be prepared for. You've seen that everybody's become a movie critic today. You would know. The day a film comes out on Friday, forget any other reviews, you'll see enough and more 140 character reviews on Twitter. So that's the kind of generation that we're talking about, and that's the generation that's primarily on digital, and that's what you're trying to be catering to on that front. So, yeah, let's just put a slide breaker there saying, do you remember that time you did this? So just to come back and ask you this thing, what exactly is digital media on that? You've heard of all the platforms that come up every day. So, I mean, literally every other day you hear of a new platform. I still don't get the funda of something called Snapchat, where a picture lasts for 3 seconds. You take a picture, it lasts for 3 seconds, and then it's apparently the next big thing amongst the younger lot. So, you're coming up with these platforms. How do you decipher what the platforms are? So, we decided this is an exercise we've done in our office as well when new recruitees come in. So, based on that, we kind of dissect the digital platforms on the basis of a donut. And we call this a donut exercise. I'm sure some of you must have seen this at some point of time. So, it's the donut theory of digital media. So, what is the donut theory of digital media? So, when you see a donut, and if you say, I like donuts, that's Facebook. If you say, I am eating a donut, that's Twitter. If you say I'm very good at eating donuts, that's LinkedIn. If you say watch me eat a donut, that's YouTube. Hey, here's a vintage picture of me eating a donut, that's Instagram. Here's a collection of donut pictures and recipes, that's Pinterest. Here is where I eat a donut, that's Foursquare. Hey, I'm a Google employee who eats donuts, Google Plus. Nobody else knows. That's clearly the breakthrough funder of the donut theory, as we call it. And this is how each platform is being used for to kind of look at it. So Facebook is where people come and voice their likes, their dislikes, etc. What they are doing currently is something that they speak out on Twitter. So if they want to show you what they're doing currently, it's Instagram, which is literally taking over the world today. YouTube, everybody's shooting a video, etc. So that's kind of the role that these platforms play when it comes to social on that front. So where do you need to be as a brand, as a product, as an entrepreneur? If there are 100 platforms like this, do you need to be at 100 platforms? No. So how do you identify where you need to be is a big question. So let's take the example of a donut company, okay? You're the newest donut company that offers the best looking and tasting donuts in the city. Now if I were to take that as an example and we have to work that backwards. So first things, no matter what you're listening, you need to list down your objectives, and we call it the problem solving sheet. So what's your problem is a question. So as an agency, we ask this question to so when we get a brief from companies, the question that's asked is what's your problem? So you tell us what your problems are. List down all the problems. It could be, okay, I'm a new product, I need sales. It could be the fact that, I've been selling to ABCD customers, but today they're not buying it. Once you list down the problems, you can then kind of segregate and group them into saying, okay, I think digital can handle this. So a brand like Mentos, which is a 50 paisa, which is a 1 rupee candy, I can't solve their sales problem through digital in terms of, I can't give you online sales for a 1 rupee. But what I can do is create a brand imagery that tomorrow when you go buy a cigarette, the first thing that comes to your head is a Mentos and not anything else. So there are multiple problems that you can solve. You have to identify what it is. So if I were to take the donut company as an example and list down the objectives there, the first and the key thing when you launch is to spread the word about this whole new donut place. I'm out. Let me talk to you about this thing. That's the first key role. The second is once people know that okay, so-and-so place is out, tell people why it's special. So if I give you the example of Bombay Canteen, I know how many people have gone there, but when it opened up, so the first thing was to tell the whole world that hey, here's Bombay Canteen, that's out. And they said it through multiple ways on that front. When you went in, then their next step was to start promoting what the cool things that they had. So things like they were mixing the most bizarre things that you would never expect to be with each other, right? Like Kokum and tequila is not something you would have ever had as a drink. And they had something like that. So that's something that they started pushing. So get people to know why it's special. And third was to improve talkability of your donut shop. So once you do 1 and 2, the third thing is that people start talking about it, checking into that place. It becomes the cool place to go to. So that's clearly the kind of objectives that you have if you're a donut company. How does digital help spread this word? So what platforms would you use? The first, I know for a fact that when anybody here in this room is launching a product, the first set of platforms you think of is Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, because these are the most popular platforms, so everybody puts those 4 down. But if you want to spread the word of a new product that you've launched, these 4 platforms together will not make sense. You need to get rid of Twitter, you need to get rid of Instagram to spread the word, to start this thing. So let me give you and I'll tell you why. It's because you're new, nobody knows who you are. So why will I follow a company that I don't know? I would never follow that. People need to start talking about you to know it. So the mistake a lot of people make is that they assume, within ourselves we assume that okay, listen, I'm making this, so people will automatically know about me. People don't know about you. So the first and most important thing is for you to start talking about it. Does that make sense? And I was telling you about. So I'll explain it in a further and better way in that front. Now the entire platforms that we saw where we said I like a donut and I'm eating a donut, etc. In a marketing sense, if I were to break it down, how does that fall into place? So Facebook and YouTube together are a reach platform. So Facebook at one point of time was a platform which is great where you could people started investing to get fans on their page, likes on their page. So today Facebook is equivalent to Times of India. So what happens on Facebook is that if I put out something and if I put money behind it, I will reach the right audience. So when you launch a product, when you're launching something, Facebook is a great place to start off with. It will help you reach the kind of audience. You can define the kind of audience you want to reach. So for example, if you're a chocolatier and you've decided that, okay, mine is an expensive chocolate, so I'll only sell to people in South Bombay who live in 18th floor buildings and above, then it will find those exact kind of people and the ad will show up on their pages. What will happen is that that's when they get to know of the product. Because if you were to otherwise open a Facebook page and open a Twitter handle, if I'm sitting in the 18th floor of a South Bombay apartment, I would never end up knowing of this otherwise. So there is a definite need for you to put money in the beginning to get that reach, to get your voice across, and that's why Facebook is going to be very useful. YouTube is also definitely useful, but then YouTube is more expensive because you also have to create a video piece, content, etc. But that's another key thing that you guys have to know is that Facebook also allows you to put video now, and any video post on Facebook gives you 35% higher organic reach. So that's a platform you would really want to explore on that front. Twitter is your conversational platform. So once you've put the word out saying that, hey, I'm here, this is me, Twitter becomes your conversational platform. It's a platform that you use to start conversation, generate engagement and stuff with your consumers on that front. So I've seen various kinds of uses of Twitter on that. I'll give you an example of how we tackled a few brands. When Magnum ice creams launched, right? It was an expensive ice cream to launch, 85 rupees, when the last ice cream was about 35 rupees. So 85 is a huge. We said, okay, how do we target these? How do we get people to? So we then decided it was initially there was a major Facebook push, etc. So we got people liking the page. The word got around. Of course, there was TV ads and stuff. But on Twitter, what we did was we started kind of monitoring chatter that's happening. So people are not going to be talking about Magnum ice cream, but what do you want? So Magnum was the ultimate pleasure. So we started looking at people who were complaining about things. So when somebody said having the worst Monday morning ever, okay, because on Twitter I can just track all kinds of. The minute I saw somebody saying having the worst Monday morning ever, Magnum would reach out to that person saying, hey, sorry to here's something that will make your day better. And because it was a start-off version, we would give them a 30 rupees off on the Magnum, a coupon of that sort. Now that got people, so that guy, when he suddenly saw him, Magnum reaching out to him, he came back and followed the Magnum handle. And that's how we kind of grew our followers organically. Did a lot of these engagements saying, so when we launched, again, another thing was, when Magnum came in, it launched in Madras, in Chennai first, and it didn't, for the first 10 days, we didn't launch it in the stores. So what we did is, it was by invite only. So we made it the most exclusive thing in the world. So only influencers, only high-end celebrities, etc. were given Magnums, and the Magnums were brought to their house in a chariot and stuff like that, and they would eat it, and they were talking. So now the whole world was like, what is this Magnum, and I want to know it. So we said it will only come in 10 days. But 5 days later, we said on Twitter, people had to come in and then say which place they want to. We have a Magnum chariot that's going around. You tell us which place. The highest number of tweets in that hour, that place the chariot will come to and deliver Magnums to people around that area. So that kind of got the chatter going. So Twitter as a platform was used primarily to start conversation. But the thing with Twitter is, you will never, I don't think, how many of you are on Twitter here? Have you ever gone to twitter.com/somebody's page and gone through their tweets? So nobody ends up doing that. If the tweet comes in on your timeline. When you're there, you read it and you move on. So it's as simple as it's a statement you make. You have to identify when the audience is live, and that's I mean, there are multiple tools that will help you do that, but that's key. And it also helps in knowing when your audience is live and playing it according to that. And I'll give you another example of that as well. Is we were marketing this drink by so the guys who own Paperboat, Hector Beverages, they own another drink called Zynga. So the objective of Zynga was competition to Red Bull. So what they said was their clear-cut target was the people who were awake through the night, which was primarily engineers and all the computer geeks at IIT, etc. So who would be awake online, and that's the kind of audience we want to target. So that's the clear this thing. So what we said with the Zynga Twitter platform was that we turned it around and we said, look, there's no conversation on Twitter through the day, but after 8 p.m. the Twitter handle of Zynga is taken over by this stand-up comedian called Satan Bhagat. So he takes over that handle and he starts tweeting the most bizarre random things. So if you want to have a lot of fun, and you can only see all the humor etc. on it after 8 p.m. The Zynga website was built in such a way that if you came into the website in the day, the website was just like a drab old man sitting there doing nothing. But if you went to the website after sunset, because it recognized the time on the thing, the website would become this really mad website throwing out random content, GIFs, and things like that. So that's we looked at time specific thing and then worked that around on that front. So that's how Twitter can be a great conversational platform. Instagram, Foursquare, Pinterest, etc. While these are great on that front, Instagram is going to be very not used to this. Okay. It's not, it's skipping that particular slide, but let's try one last time. Okay, we look at this primarily as a engagement platform on that front. So, Instagram is a great engagement platform. It's visual, it's straight up. You can use it to tell your story on visually on that front. This is unlike a Facebook, you have a higher organic reach. So, while on how you treat it, how we treat it is Facebook is your Times of India. That's it. Twitter is your daily conversation with, and Instagram is that it's like BuzzFeed. It's like that this thing because you like that page, you can't, and you should give people a reason to like your page. Like if you're putting up the most glorious food images of at specific times when people are hungry, I will go and like that page because I know like I forget the name of this page that I generally follow, but they put out these ice cream images. And it's called ice cream porn, if I'm not wrong. What they do is it's the most beautiful ice cream images you can think of. They take a regular sorbet and make it look so beautiful. It looks like a piece of art. I would take that picture and frame it and put it in my house. It's that beautiful. So I follow it for that particular reason. There are multiple people, there are multiple reasons you can build around it, but it being such a visual medium, if you're in the business of food, which is the most highest consumed media imagery on Instagram, that's the perfect place to be. If it's a great food, visually appealing food, then that's something that you should definitely look at. So, coming back to our donut company basis of what we were talking about just now, what's the best way to go about it? We start out by putting targeted ads about the cool new donut place in town. So Facebook is one place. Along with the ads, throw in a few offers. People who come in with these ads get coupons, blah blah blah, those kind of things. We use Twitter and Instagram at this point. One key thing would be to use influencers at your best because influencers are called influencers for a reason, right? Now, here is the millennial generation that is listening, that has an opinion about everything, and they're also looking for recommendations. So if a big booker comes and takes a picture of it and says like the best so-and-so thing that I've eaten in my life, automatically there are people who like him and there are people who hate him. So people who like him will end up saying, oh, I trust this guy's opinion on that front. So there is influencers a big thing. So if you invite influencers, ask them to spread the word about you, and that's quite, I mean, it's almost like a paid medium sometimes, but it works on that front. Hashtag is your best friend. Like I was saying, it helps you monitor conversations and latch into conversations. So you may not necessarily have a Twitter following at this point, but you can identify words that you want to be associated with. So if Magnum ice cream was associated with pleasure, which means pleasure, Monday, people who didn't, who are hating some days, etc. Those were the words that we identified, and we're constantly tracking those hashtags. I'll give you another example of Yogurt Bay. When they opened in Bombay, I thought that was a fabulous thing because every time there was a traffic jam in on the ceiling, when ceilings just opened up and there used to be major jams there. Every time there was a traffic jam in ceiling, people would tweet with the hashtag traffic stuck in Bandra, etc. Anybody who spoke about anything in Bandra, Yogurt Bay had an answer to it, saying, "Hey, if you're stuck in, is the jam heating you up? Come cool down with one of our yogurts." And it's sometimes it may sound very intrusive on that front, but sometimes it's just if it's humorous, if it's fun, I will latch onto it. And if you sorry,
how do you search for this? If you say like the point if you're located in Bandra, look up Twitter, people talk about Bandra.
So if you just go onto Twitter and type Bandra, okay, if this generation talks in hashtags, okay. So if I'm in Bandra and if I spotted a dog running, a cute dog running around, hashtag Bandra is what I would put up. So if you realize, if you go up in Twitter, even right now, and if you just search the term Bandra, you will see at least 15 to 20 tweets in the last 1 hour about Bandra that people have put up. So you don't need so what I'm talking to you about is absolutely basic things. Okay, if you hire agencies, so the high-end tools and stuff like that, which monitor tracking, that can track it to another zone altogether. Wherein, like, I can put in triggers saying the minute somebody. So I don't know if you remember when Flipkart started off, you just had to mention a book without even a hashtag. In like less than 30 seconds, Flipkart would send you the link to that book at that point. Like if I just said like saw Ronnie Screwwala's interview yesterday, boom, Flipkart would send me the link to Ronnie Screwwala's latest book saying, have you read his book? Kind of thing. That's serious amount of chatter tracking. So you use software like Radiant 6, etc., which is complicated, which means running a war room of sorts where you have like 6 people monitoring 8 different monitors to figure this out. But even otherwise, if it's a small business, if you're starting off, if you know the word you're looking for, Twitter has a very decent search mechanism on that one. Just type in and today, if I'm not wrong, Instagram's launched its new update. So if you go to Instagram, it says search by people, search by location. So you just type in location, type in Bandra, you'll see all the pictures that were taken in Bandra at that point in time. So there is an option for you to do all that as well. This the Foursquare piece is something that India hasn't utilized quite well. Foursquare, which has become Swarm today, but internationally it's quite popular. I use Foursquare a lot when I'm traveling abroad because if invariably you're looking for recommendations, you don't know. I was in Berlin couple of weeks ago.
AC is working. It's just that people are coming in and it's pull after some time. Pull out.
So, when I was in Berlin the other day, I was hungry. We were out clubbing and I was supremely hungry. Looked up on Foursquare and it said the best falafel in Berlin is 50 meters away. So we just walked down and trust me, it was the best falafel in Berlin or the best falafel I've ever eaten in my life. So Foursquare is genuinely helpful on that one. But Foursquare is also helpful for you to reward people who come there. Like, so for example, you're offering free Wi-Fi, right? In your, if you open a restaurant, you're offering free Wi-Fi. Don't give out the password. Tell them that you check in on Foursquare and the password comes to you automatically. That person checking in on Foursquare spreads your word that much more, and that gets you there. So you are offering free Wi-Fi, but it's through Foursquare only. So that kind of helps somewhere. Foursquare lets you give you rewards saying check into my restaurant 10 times and get a mini scoop of so and so thing. So that's a great way to get people to tell the whole world that I'm here. So now if 4 people have checked in, if 4 of my friends have checked into the same place, I'm like, what is this most happening place that everybody is going to? And then I would want to check it out. So that's a way to use this piece. So coming back to the sorry.
I had a couple of questions, one on Facebook and one on Twitter. So sure. On Facebook, like when you're targeting audience, say I'm targeting audience in Mumbai, right? Is it more advisable to have a broader reach, or is it more advisable to have like a very So like for example, we've been trying to do it for the last like 3 or 4 months. What it eventually results in is that it generates a lot of likes, but it doesn't always lead to conversions. Sometimes it leads to good conversions, sometimes it doesn't, and we still haven't like been able to figure out whether it is just a reach or whether it is.
So I'll tell you what it is. It's Facebook lets you target who you want to target, right? Now, the mistake most people make is that a lot of people turn around and say that, hey, here is a company that's saying that I will give you 1800 likes in 1000 rupees, as opposed to another company that's saying that we'll give you for 2000 rupees, we'll probably give you 100 likes. But the difference is those 100 likes that you've got are the 100 people who will come onto your this thing. So if I look at this entire room, okay, imagine that this is the Facebook stratosphere that we're talking about. The product you are selling to you have a precise TG, okay, you are selling to a 30 and above person who owns an iPhone, okay, who can afford an iPhone, drives a four-wheeler, blah blah blah, that's your thing. So if I were to narrow this room down, it would come down to 4 people. So these are the 4 people who need to see your ad. Okay, and that will be the most effective solution. But then when you do such a precise targeting, what happens is as your precision goes up, the cost to reach that person will also go up a little. Okay, but I would rather spend that 2000 rupees and target these 4 people 3 times, as opposed to taking that 2000 and saying, I can target all these people. But none of them are going to buy. These are the 4 people who are going to end up actually being interested in your product. So I would rather use that element of. So don't chase likes. Likes is a myth. It's a scam that Facebook started, and now everybody's seeing this thing of it, because there's no point, right? Today I have 20 million likes on my Pepsi page. If I put out a post without any money behind it, the reach for that is less than 1000. So in spite of having that kind of a base, it doesn't reach anybody. What's the point? Earlier it made sense that, okay, if I have 20,000 people on my page, it reaches all the 20,000. It doesn't do that now. So the reason why we said treat Facebook as a reach medium is because put out communication that you want to put out. So if you're opening a restaurant which is serving Cuban food, you want to target people who are well traveled, who probably like cigars, are a single malt lover in that front. Target only those people and let the ad come up on their face saying that, hey, the latest Cuban restaurant in town which gives, have you tried the cigars at so and so place, kind of thing. But no point showing that to a 17-year-old or an 18-year-old kid who is also in the same stratosphere as Facebook. He sees the ad, he doesn't give a damn about 18-year-old single malt versus a Blender's Pride. So he will also come and like the page, because he's seen the ad. There's a possibility that he likes the page. Him liking the page is doing nothing to you. It's only burning your ad inventory. So my strong this thing is plan your media in such a way that don't go after numbers of likes. Go precision targeting, especially in the startup space, and especially in the kind of space that the most of the people here are in. I mean, you're not FMCG. You're looking. It's more a niche product. It's somewhere down the line. It's targeting the right kind of audience will help. So, for example, if you're a food delivery service that you're talking about, you want to target somebody at 11 in the afternoon who's in the office. So when I go online and suddenly I see a Hola Chef ad saying that Hyderabadi Halim at 299 rupees at 11 o'clock, I may carry lunch with me. I may still order that and give the lunch away to somebody in office, because that Halim's got my attention at 11 o'clock, which is exciting, right? I want to have it right now, and it's there. Whereas if my mom saw that ad, it would make no difference to her, because she's sitting at home and she generally wouldn't order in food unless the entire family is together on that. So you would want to target people who are in offices doing that. So it's very important that you understand your audience and target your ad specifically to it. Facebook lets you do that. Use it to that advantage.
So how do you do that? Because from what I know is you can tag pages.
Yeah.
You can use extractors and download UIDs also and do something like that. I recently learned.
Yeah.
Facebook doesn't need to do hyperlocal in India yet.
Facebook lets you target. Of course, it does.
Not in
Only
India.
to the city
Yeah,
level.
it does.
City level.
City level, yes.
But in the globally now they've got the 2 mile radius.
Yeah, no,
Here
here
in India that's not come as yet.
no, not yet.
So how do you target it? Because let's say and that's a very valid point. Because let's say I'm targeting Facebook and I run a campaign. I got the post. I got everything right. But I'm choosing my aspirational youth. So I'm making him. I'm going to put in places like Flipkart, people who like Flipkart, people who like Snapdeal, because I'm looking at e-com guys. If he possibly uses Flipkart, he's going to go to a food tech platform also.
Okay, just give me an example in terms of let's take it from a product perspective.
Okay.
Give me what's the product that
We're an aggregated Asian food restaurant.
okay.
Typically, we're a virtual restaurant,
Okay.
and then we're the only home delivery virtual restaurant.
Okay.
So we deliver food to your doorstep in 29 minutes of break.
29. Okay. So that's your listing, and your target audience would be
22 to 28 years old youth.
okay, and mostly office goers, or you. So you're thinking you're looking at it more than a lunch space.
Lunch and dinner, both of course. We mostly lunch space in the afternoon. Yes, that's what we look at. Right?
So what you can do is now you can target it to city, right? Now I've targeted to city. I've targeted the age group.
Right.
You know your demographic in terms of what kind of monies you
Yes.
expect them to spend. Okay, are accessing it from a smartphone,
Yes.
Android
Yes.
slash
That
this thing.
also is right.
You can further this thing it with saying so the kind of so if you can break down your audience, there are times when you look at it saying okay what are the kind of people. So for example, if do you serve sushi?
No, we don't.
Okay, so just to give you this thing, if it's somebody who serves sushi, now sushi is looked at with a so it's slightly premium, right? So imagine he's a manager and above level person, a person who doesn't think twice before shelling out 500 rupees for lunch.
Right.
So that's the thing. So which means he would there are when you target it, there are certain kind of music he's associated with, or there's a certain kind of pages that he will like. So
Right.
we kind of break it down on that front. So if I have a precise TG, what our media team generally does is they break it down basis of habits that you kind of figure out with. So if you're talking to a say a 32-year-old, now a 32-year-old who likes Pink Floyd and has studied at IIT, okay, automatically for me is somebody who would like a sushi and who's in a senior level at that point of time, because you also can target by colleges. You can start. So you have to. There are multiple ways to decipher your audience. Even though hyper targeting is not allowed in terms of the 2 mile radius is not allowed, but there are multiple other. Facebook lets you target it with way too many options on that front. Actually, even the hobbies is something that I can choose from. So you can target it to that core audience. Maybe there'll be a hit or miss here and there, but then that's still that core audience that you will still get on this. So Facebook does let you hyper target to a reasonably large level. At least I have had that experience when we worked with brands. We've managed to target it as close to the ones that we need to. It's about understanding what you need and then kind of putting them into looking at what all Facebook is giving you and then bracketing it according to that. So that's probably a way to look at it. Does that answer the question?
Take only the information that the user has already obviously put in, right? For example, we were looking at doing something where we wanted to target moms, and everybody doesn't like put in the information that I'm a mom or something, right? So it suddenly like narrowed it down to a really small number. So we had to then remove that.
So yeah, not everybody's the relationship status is not something that everybody keeps public.
Yeah.
So and also a lot of people just don't change it.
Yeah.
Like it's there in that front. Yeah, that's. There are obviously multiple other ways you can then figure out if they're mom. So invariably, if you're a mom, you would have liked some other pages which baby pages or one of those things. So there are multiple ways to target it. There are. I'll give you a very offbeat example on that front as well, which is we were talking because you said moms that came to my head. We were working with Dalda. Now, Dalda, as you know, it has a completely different image in all our heads, right? But Dalda also has olive oil, and Dalda also has sunflower oil right now, and it's huge. But then what they're doing is that their target is clearly not the urban cities; it's the second-rung cities. what we realized there is they're all on Facebook. Yes, some of them are on Facebook, but they're more on these groups. Okay, and it's like Janakpuriya aunties group kind of a thing. So they're all there. They're all exchanging recipes on those groups and stuff. So we said, okay, there is a possibility to do something. And what are all these people doing? They were all exchanging recipes. So then Dalda's clear audience was that let's not talk to Metro. Let's go in. I want to talk to Ludhiana. I want to talk to Chandigarh. I want to talk to these people and get them out. So we launched a completely different website. It was called Facebook. Okay, it was called Facebook.in, and it was a website which was going to put in maa ke haath ke recipes, as we called it. So we said that's the idea. We'll put in the mothers. Now we are asking mothers to send in the recipes. Mothers, maybe they are on Facebook. Okay, the mothers I'm talking about that. Maybe they are on Facebook, but invariably if they are on Facebook, they are only sitting and commenting on their kids' pictures or liking it. They are not going to come and do anything else. Type a recipe. So what we did is we started a missed call campaign. Said give a missed call to this number. It's the IVR that will call you back, and then you can record your recipe. You just record your recipe. It will automatically our system would transcribe it and put it up there. You could also listen to other people's recipe when you're doing it, because the phone was used as your radio in their houses. They would put it on. Everybody had a speakerphone. They would call this number. I want to make so and so gajar ka halwa, whatever, and press that. It was on speakerphone, and they could make it on the. So you could access that thing. Now Facebook would have probably let me target them, but those mothers are not there on Facebook, so we didn't. So this campaign ran for about 4 months. We aggregated a lot of recipes there. I think the website has been pulled down right now. The campaign was only for that period, and then we took the website when defunct after that. But that was one way. But if you want to really target mothers on Facebook specifically, if you look for mothers, obviously it will narrow it down really low. But there are other elements that you will probably have to look for to identify them. But any given day, it's still better than doing a print ad.
Yeah.
Look at it in that. So you are still reaching the kind of audience you are reaching in that front to get the thing. Yeah. Yes.
So basically, you are saying that these are ways to create communities. So suppose I am an established, how can I retain these communities now, because they know my brand now? And so how should we retain that? Suppose I am established now.
Okay.
Suppose I am Copper Chimney, for example. What should I do today?
So, as I just come couple of slides in, probably I'll be able to answer that question at that point in time. Yeah. So,
sorry, just on the Twitter thing
Yeah.
also. So basically, see, I understand for a large brand, like when you talk about influencers and all these things, and honestly, it's a mixed bag out there. I'm being pretty open about it. Influencers, Twitter influencers, it's a mixed bag out there. There's some people who are honestly sellouts, okay, and there's some people who are genuinely like the post. So now it's almost become when somebody actually genuinely goes and puts a picture of our stuff or something, people say, "Oh, तुमने pay किया उनको?" Like, awesome man, like good PR. And we're like, no, the customer liked it and put the picture up, right? So now it's almost become that people expect that, हाँ ये तो paid ही होगा. Right, so plus for a startup, honestly, the cost of getting all influencers together and
sure,
like every time sending them free hampers and everything is honestly a lot, right? So I'm just trying to understand for a big brand. I understand maybe Magnum can do it. I'm just trying to understand from a startup perspective. Like it's not people are expecting freebies, and honestly, once they get the freebies, then actually most of the influencers never come back and buy it after that on their own. They're expecting then the next batch of freebies.
okay.
Right, so I'm being pretty open about it. Right? That's what it is. So I'm just trying to understand, like from a startup perspective, can you help us understand what, like for a channel like Twitter, how do you utilize it?
I'll also add on to his question. I feel today, since everybody knows that the influencers or the bloggers are, to a certain extent, are sold. You can buy bloggers. That's how the market is moving. So aren't audience intelligent enough, and aren't they have their guards on when they read a blogger's review about a particular place? So do I make a strong impact there? I mean, is that the right way to go through, or it's the genuine audience review? Or
See, I tell you what. In terms of are the influencers, can they be bought? Yes, they can. But I'll give you an example of film review system. Okay. Come on, take it for Times of India's reviews can be bought. Anybody can buy a 5-star review.
And that time
That still makes a difference. When Times of India says 5-star review to Happy New Year, people will still go and watch that Happy New Year saying, yeah, this was a 1-star review mila hai. There is a certain audience who will turn around and say, yeah, this audience will say, okay, yeah, Times of India mein everything can be bought kind of this thing. But there's still that audience that will believe. So when you pay a influencer to do it, yes, there is a certain audience that will get influenced by it. My other larger question is, when you say influencer, this word influencer is so abused. Okay. The question that we always ask internally, and we're building this one tech thing that's a startup inside our own this thing, which is around the influencer piece, which I'll discuss later. But what that is, the question that we ask is, isn't everybody an influencer? Like, if you have 10 followers, you have the ability to influence those 10 people, right? Those 10 people are following you for a reason. So now, it's great that you find Mr. Big Booker who has 8,000 followers and his one tweet reaches out to 8,000 people on that front. But anybody who's coming into this thing has a. So if you don't want to pay the influencer to do ABCD things, there are multiple ways you can tap into Twitter. Now, good ways, nice ways of basically asking people who are coming in to try your product to tweet about it, and nobody does anything for free unless, of course, they've really passionately loved it. But the minute you tell them, tweet about my product, please, they're expecting some freebie out of it. You could probably give them a small little, like anybody who comes there and tweets about or Instagrams a picture of whatever they are eating will get a free shot or gets like a free whatever small little freebie on that one. It's exciting for me who has 800 followers. It may not excite the big blogger, but there are smaller rewards you can throw in to the user to get. So say a small little bite contest that you run at that point of time, saying I'll give you a tech idea. For example, you imagine a machine that's there that has a cupcake here, okay, at the bottom. Every time somebody puts a tweet out about tagging our restaurant, that cupcake moves up by an inch. Okay, so every 10 tweets, that cupcake comes out. So whoever is the 10th tweeter can take that cupcake and walk out. So people standing in the restaurant can just tweet for the heck of seeing this cool little thing that's moving up. So every tweet that you're doing and taking it and going. So it's a small little tech innovation. It'll cost you about some amount to make it at that point of time, but it's a one-time cost, right? Once it's done, you can do multiple sets of innovations like that to get people talking about it at that point of time. So, do you still go ahead and pay influencers to do it? I feel there is a certain audience that it can generate. It's almost like an ad, right? So if I'm putting in 10,000 rupees and getting a person to blog and write about me, and if that 10,000 rupees will generate in 1,000 footfalls, that will give me a sale of 1 lakh, then I'm okay putting that 10,000. So it's ROI that you will have to measure on that one. I agree that a lot of people do believe it's यार ये तो खरीदा हुआ होगा, but there are also a lot of people who अरे इसने बोला है इसलिए जाना पड़ेगा. That also happens. So there is an equal breakup on that front. The non-influencer or the regular janta that we are talking about, who still have the power to influence, you will have to treat them to something cool for them to go ahead and tweet. So if your product's really good, yeah, you'll get a tweet from me once. You'll probably get an Instagram from me because it's the most beautiful looking thing. But then if I'm coming the second time around, I'm not tweeting about it 2 times in a row. So but I only have a certain reach on that front also. It's a question of ROI. You have to measure it on that front and then take that. Yeah. So the big question is this question that everybody asks: how do you craft a digital marketing strategy? You don't. There is no such thing as crafting a digital marketing strategy. Take the digital out. You craft a marketing strategy, and then digital is only one platform. Always craft a strategy, keeping it platform agnostic. Then decide what medium can do what to you. If you have the money to go on TV, great, maybe. And if you think, so for example, if you think going on TV will be a higher reach on that one, or higher conversion, you should go on TV on that one. So it's all about measuring your ROI on the basis of those things and then crafting it out. Digital is probably going to be your cheapest medium to do things, especially because you guys are all going to be startups on that front. It's not the most expensive medium, but even on digital, there's a certain amount of money you will need to do to get unless you've got a breakthrough product. If you've got a breakthrough product, then you probably don't have to ever do an ad or ever. It's just the whole world is going to talk about it on that front. But otherwise, there is a certain kind of, there needs to be a buzz that's great. People need to know that you are here in the market. And that's something that digital can help you do because a lot of people across on this one. So, first things, let's list down objectives and then associate platforms and strategies basis of the objectives that we're putting out. So, I have a few hard rules here. Okay, and that's somewhere where I can probably be answering the. You want to repeat your question once more?
So, what we are saying basically, we are building the communities through different channels. So, one way, what you explain is one is targeting. Any other ways on that, building the community? That's one. Secondly, once we have built the community, right, how we can keep them more engaged, how we can enhance their experience. Like, suppose I'm a copper chimney today, right? I know what food it is, what's the ambience, I've been there 20 times. So how can I engage the audience?
So that's where this part comes in. The hard rules, don't make it all about the food, the ambience, the cutlery. Don't make it all about you and your company, ever. Because while it's great, when you're putting out that ad that you're putting out to reach people, yes, go ahead and tell them that I have a donut, I have this. But once that's done, if there's a community page that you're running, if people have liked it for a reason, if they're kind of content they're trying to consume, they don't want to know every day that, hey, the world's best burgers, etc. There are clever ways to plug in your content. Now, that's where your piece comes in. So, for example, now you know that everybody who goes there clicks a photograph of food, right? So, if you were, as Copper Chimney, doing the Copper Chimney tutorial to clicking the best food pictures. So that becomes a piece of content. Okay, now imagine if it's a video or if it's just a post saying, here are 4 ways in which you should never take a picture with this angle and that shadow or whatever. It's tips that any foodie who is going to go and click a photo would know. And I'm going to follow it for that tips. And you give that entire tip with the basis of one product of yours. So for example, if I'm selling my donut, and if I've got enough people on my page and they love the thing, I'd say the best 10 tips on how to click the perfect donut picture. Okay, and here are 10 tips I've thrown into that's content I want to consume because it's not telling me donut specific thing, it's telling me what I would generally do so find clever ways to plug your content in. You can run communities on the basis of these kind of elements. A clever example, I'll tell you how different people have used communities. At least food is an exciting community for you to come and like, etc. But imagine a company like Standard Chartered. Why on earth would I go and like a Standard Chartered Facebook page? There's no point, right? It's a boring company in my head already. It's investment banking, it's numbers, that's not something that I do when I'm on Facebook. I wouldn't come and like it. They realized the problem as well. So what they also looked at it very laterally and they said, where is my StanChart credit card being used the most? It's being used the most in restaurants. So a lot of people go out, put their card in, and it's getting swiped. So if Standard Chartered wanted to own a community, why don't I own the food community? Was their answer. So it was called, I think it was called the Great Indian Food Explorer, or powered by Standard Chartered. It was a page that would just give you reviews of restaurants, great things to eat, etc. And it just said powered by Standard Chartered at the bottom, and also threw in offers to the Standard Chartered customer. I was not a Standard Chartered customer. I went and liked the page because they would tell me content about what are the cool places to eat in, or here are 4 things I should definitely try out if I'm in Delhi and things like that. Along with it, I kept seeing offers of Standard Chartered that were coming in, saying if I was a Standard Chartered customer, I would have got 2 free drinks at so and so place. And then I said, why don't I just get a Standard Chartered card? And then moved and got myself a Standard Chartered card. So that's the smartest way to have built a community, to look at it very laterally and say that, hey, if nobody's going to like me for what I am, then what am I doing that we can like? And then I can move that community onto that basis.
And at what stage you guys come in? Before launching, like 6 weeks, 8 weeks, or
So
why you're
we've
making-
worked in it depends on from space to space. So we've worked with companies about 6 months before launch. So with Magnum Ice Cream, we were on board 6 months before launch. So everything was in tandem on that front. There are times with startups, obviously, with agencies on that front. It's a scary thought for startups to think about it also. Okay, yeah, why will I start paying an agency? Which is absolutely valid. I think it's you guys need to. I think you when you're starting, maybe a month before you start up, also it's fine. Before you launch, it's fine to reach out. But before you need to do your homework way before that. So that objectives piece that we were discussing. Once you have that, once it's clear in your head. The most difficult thing that for you to do would be to craft the right brief. To understand and craft the right briefs, you will then come in and reach out to an agency, say a month or month and a half earlier, and then obviously an agency takes about 15 days to come back with the idea, and then there will be iterations, and it will be great to involve agency right at the branding space. So when you're doing the image, sorry, when you're right at the branding space. So for example, when you're making your logo, or when you're deciding your menu, etc., it'll be great to. So if you have locked an agency in your head, saying that okay, I want to work with a certain kind of a company. If I've locked that, you don't have to start paying them a retainer immediately. But tell them that hey, I'm going to start this company 4 months from. It's going to launch 4 months in, and you guys are on board. But I need opinions on a few things. Here is something that I can do. I'm trying to do. Is there something that I can do better? Your focus groups that most people do. It's online is a great space for you to do a quick test of a lot of things. So one key thing is I think before all restaurants launch, they do these tasting sessions, right? Now these tasting sessions that you do with people is a great opportunity to build all the buzz that you want to build. So before WTF opened up in Warsaw, there was the day it opened up, there was a packed crowd because that beef chili was spoken about for the last 15 days across. Anybody who went there had that beef chili and did manage to talk about it. So that kind of creates a serious kind of buzz. So yeah, like I was saying, Facebook it's find that clever way to put your content out. It's not always about the cutlery, the ambience that you're running, or the and that kind. Twitter, be prepared to hear feedback. You'll get good feedback, you'll get bad feedback, you'll get more of bad feedback than if it's good, you're taken for granted that yeah, it's good. But if it's bad, they will not spare you. And if one person says something bad, that 20 people will go and retweet something that's there. So be prepared to give them how are you going to answer this? And respond. Try responding within an hour. Don't take you don't have protocols to do in that front, which will take you 4 days to respond to the PR team. It will take you an hour to respond to it. Respond to it. If it's bad, take it in your stride order. If you have a defense, give it. Try using a funny bone. It always works. You've seen it all through. And every hashtag Facebook win, every company win is always a funny bone that's win. Zomato is the best example of having done that. Do a great job there. On YouTube, you can do a lot of. You'll be doing a lot of content. Just one key thing: when you call an agency, do not ask for a viral video. Please do not. I have heard this so many times that people say, "Yeah, I'm launching this thing. मुझे ना एक viral video चाहिए." There is no viral video. It's not happening. So there can be multiple. I can't give you a strategy for YouTube. It depends on the product that it is, and we can find different ways to say. So if it's when we launched Quaker Oats, it's the most boring thing you can eat, right? It's oats. It's really boring. It's not something that I would. So then, of course, there was masala oats and there's this. But then what we realized is that people need. We're not a community used to eating oats. We like our idlis, we like our uttapams. Then we realized that oats could be used to make idlis. Okay, so oats and idlis together would automatically make it healthier also because so then we said okay, a recipe book was made. The recipe book was 30 recipes of Indian food where everything from kheer to avial to idlis with Quaker oats in it. Now the recipe book was ready. How do you get people to this thing? So that's when YouTube came into our this thing. We said, what if we made 30-second recipes? You have 30 seconds of somebody's attention. In 30 seconds, I told you that I can make idli with oats, and so we did a quick. I mean, it's online right now. You can see it if you look up Quaker recipes. And it's a very well shot version. It's just that you don't have a Sanjeev Kapoor giving you the drama of the food. It's just like showing you tuck 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 tuck. These are the ingredients. You see the mixing, da da da, and you see the steamed idli, which is made of oats, ready out there. And that 30-second piece did a lot of things for us, because you see it was on YouTube, yes. It also worked a lot on WhatsApp. People started sharing video. So mothers who would share recipes on WhatsApp utilized this a lot. So, and the best part was the recipe book was free with every oats pack, and on the recipe book, every recipe you went to, it had a number. You could SMS to that number, you would get that video, or you could scan the code and you could see the video straight up. So that kind of also really helped there. So how you use YouTube is something that you have to figure out. If you are in the food serving business, Instagram is your best friend. You know that. We've been discussing this for a while, so that's definitely key. What?
I'll just ask one small question here, very specific from the restaurant perspective. There are times when restaurateurs get a lot of negative review on social media, and many a times I would say 50 to 60% it might be the restaurant's fault, but 40% where it's not restaurant's fault, it's the taste which is different. So everybody has a different taste. As a restaurant, I might serve the perfect food, but my audience is not accustomed to the taste, and that's why they don't like it.
Okay.
So and that eventually leads to a negative, social media communication. So how do I tackle such amount of negative, comments going around?
I'm guessing what you're saying is, I was reading a review of Nom Nom on Zomato. No, I mean,
it would be similar.
Somebody said the green chutney you gave with that sushi was the worst thing I've ever eaten.
Yeah.
He was mentioning wasabi.
But
he's never had wasabi in his life. He's put
or
green chutney into
al
his mouth.
dente, we used to get a lot of complaints saying that your pasta is not cooked. I mean, it's al dente. I mean, that's how it's supposed to be. It's not supposed to be. It's not noodle. But how do you tackle this?
So, well, it's a tricky space to be in that front. How do you tackle food-related queries when people? It's something that they don't know.
Yes.
Of. They're not. It's not an informed choice. And if you ever go and try to inform them about it, you can sound very snobbish as well.
Can I add something? What we do at our end is we don't involve the brand over here.
Okay.
So if you have a complaint about the food, then somebody tweets about a terrible experience. What we do is we don't get the brand involved over there. We say the brand cannot talk because the brand is a self-defense mechanism. We probably get either I tweet as the brand representative with the brand, and I come up with a post, I follow the post, and I respond on an individual basis without getting the brand to talk about it. Because then I sort of build a relationship, and I, of course, first will apologize, and then start talking about how what actually is supposed to be.
I'll give you another idea, if I may. Sorry to hijack this, but it's from taking off from the Quaker Oats example. What you're really talking about is the kind of food not too many people may be familiar with, or what they are all about. And as the Indian society is becoming more and more open to different kinds of cuisine, there is some amount of education and learning that needs to be done for the customer. Why not make 30-second videos about these kind of things? What is wasabi? How is it to be done? How is it to be eaten? What is al dente? Using your brand, you will come to be seen as, and not targeting at a complainant, but generally put them out on YouTube. You'll be seen as someone knowledgeable. It'll build your brand, and you hopefully in the process will take care of some complaints like this in the future. So you could do something like that.
So you completely missed that.
And I just gave an example. I said, do 30-second edu commercials about what is wasabi. Using your brand name, you'll be seen as a knowledgeable brand, a knowledge leader. You're spreading information, and don't target specifically at a complainant. Just put them out.
Yeah, that's That's probably one of the best ways you can go about it. Because otherwise, there's a fine line, right?
Yeah.
You can turn out to be very snobbish if you turn around and tell
Can't
them,
be
hey, but
preachy.
you are eating this. This is what it is, and then that
Well,
automatically turns.
Don't talk to someone specific, just general.
But
Yeah.
you can also try to have some of that information in the restaurant itself. When you know you're dealing with a specific cuisine, which a lot of people might not be aware of, you have so many avenues like your menu, and there are so many things in which you can put small pointers as to what this exactly is. How is it maybe?
No, but the thing is, a lot of people don't generally read half the things. Have you been to Mama Goto?
There's a
So they have the most bizarre menu, right? And the guy who gives you the menu tells you that it's a bizarre menu. If you don't like it, tell us. We'll just take it away because we don't guarantee if you like it or not. So it's like a disclaimer. It's like mutual funds are subject to market risk. So you can work that out.
But it's also work. It depends on how you design it. It shouldn't be like you're reading an encyclopedia on what that cuisine is all about.
No, like for example, give me if I take the wasabi piece, right? Now wasabi is going to come with sushi. Now I can't. Do I put a danger sign next to wasabi saying do not eat so much? It's not chutney, right? So I mean, the first time I had a lot of wasabi, I just went, and that's exactly what happened to this guy. And he wrote a review. He wrote a terrible review about this on Nom Nom.
If you like to, sir, dear sir, as you must have read, outside food not permitted.
You should see that review. Actually, the number of likes and the different people who commented on it and made
and it
fun of
goes
it.
bizarre. I mean, the entire
Yeah.
conversation goes bizarre after that. Yeah.
So I'll show you a couple of quick case study videos, some interesting stuff on how cleverly they've used digital, and probably we can then move on. If you want me to skip this, I can skip this as well. Is there an audio plug?
Yeah, I'll have to arrange for that. Meanwhile,
Is this the one?
I think so.
Yes, speakers need to be on.
Speakers are off.
I just thought. I didn't know this thing is.
So, in between you mentioned WhatsApp. Like, I've heard from some people that, for a small business, WhatsApp is actually a great marketing tool, but we really don't see the mention of it anywhere in any digital marketing.
It's not yet because WhatsApp hasn't opened their API. I mean,
but can't you, like, from a community perspective, like, do something?
if I send you a message as a random person, the only random messages I get are Pankaj computers trying to sell me
Can you
something. It's disconnected.
speakers on है? नहीं आ रहा.
Yeah, I just
It is? But there's
it's
no sound.
volume's too low. I can hear
Yeah,
it
the
on the
volume.
It's fine.
the most clever use of Instagram you can think of, and it's so useful in terms of like I'm not clicking like the McDonald's burger that comes on the ad versus what I really get, and what I'm clicking is what I'm getting on the table, right? So I know exactly what I need. So that's I think one of the most clever uses, and that's something that people should definitely look at on that front. To come back to your point on WhatsApp, the API for WhatsApp is not open, so which is why agencies differ from talking to you about that as a platform. However, there are multiple of these agencies that give you access to. So how we used WhatsApp, for example, in Quaker was that WhatsApp the recipe name. So there was behind every recipe there was a code. WhatsApp the code to this number, and we would WhatsApp you the number back, the recipe back. So that was that's how we kind of used it. So it's because it's a free medium, WhatsApp. It's almost like the new missed call of 2015. So what missed call was in 2010, where you gave a missed call and you would get a thing. WhatsApp is used on that front, saying you send us a WhatsApp, we will reply to you. But I don't have access to a WhatsApp API wherein I can get people to. So it's not widely used on that front. So and also WhatsApp is a closed unit in terms of when I get a WhatsApp word or recipe, you don't know that I've got it. Whereas on Twitter or Facebook, if I like something, the whole 20 other people know that I've liked it, and so it's not a mass media community. It's more one-to-one conversation. So that was the Instagram menu. I have some tech examples. So this is a clever use of check-in services and some tech-oriented things. So let me just show you.
Granada Pet Snack Check. People enjoy getting something for free. At a check-in at Foursquare, for example. And they do it over and over again. Whoa! Bow! Wow! It's the same conditioning for dogs. They know what to do to get food for free. This is our idea for Granada Pet Dog Food, which is based on pomegranates. Granada Pet is one of the innovative leaders of high premium pet food in Germany. The challenge, creating awareness for the Granada Pet Dog Food with a slim budget. The idea, catch the target group while walking the dog and use the typical conditioning approach, but now for the masses. The message, check in, snack out. Just check in at the location of the billboard at Foursquare, and the dog food comes out of the dispenser automatically. Plain and simple, without being the major, and no boring voucher. From now on, the dog commands the owner. Back there and check in again, pretty please. With this idea, it was easy to show the dog's high appreciation of the Granada Pet Dog Food to the owners. It's an easy way to introduce a new brand to the dog community. The engineering. Check in at the billboard.
Want to skip this bit?
Our servers check every second.
You guys want to see this?
Their status and at the billboard.
Skip it.
If there's an
So no, that was just clever use of technology on that front. So like we were talking of that the cupcake vending machine, which just said like you don't know which number of the tweet will push it up. So you just keep tweeting, and then if it manages to come up, you can take it and go. Kind of thing. So and you can give out like one of those fancy cupcakes or whatever you want to. So you can use technology to a large extent on that front. I have more such case studies. I don't think we have time for it, so I could probably leave this behind, and then you can
So we'll do a
watch
quick
it.
live thing, huh?
Okay.
Can we take one case and maybe everybody can brainstorm and help somebody come up with a strategy?
Okay.
Can we do that?
Yeah, we can do that. I mean, do we have time for it? Though?
Yeah, we have another 10-15 minutes.
Good.
Yeah.
Anybody wants to volunteer?
Their product or their food service.
Nobody wants to do this?
Okay. Thanks.
So let's just go into this. Right.
Okay, so we basically, so Yummy started off basically as a company that wanted to do fresh preservative-free food. Okay, now what we did in the process was we realized that basically packaged food that's available in the market is bad quality. I mean, red Maggie nowadays, but essentially it's filled with a lot of like random chemical stuff and all these kinds of things, right? So we decided that the way to do it is that you do it within a city, catch hold of individuals who make it at home, and you start doing like homemade pickles, homemade chutneys, homemade everything. So everything is fresh, packaged, and it's like available. You order it and it's available at your doorstep the next day. So you get it. It's made fresh and delivered fresh to you. That was the original value proposition, right? Now what happened was that honestly, like our learning so far has been that people really don't care. Okay, what people are more interested in is that you can get interesting stuff. So because you're doing it at a individual level, you can actually create much more interesting stuff as compared to what a large package food company can do. Right? But now we are sort of like in this stage where we are trying to figure out from a digital marketing perspective what is the right message to send across. Because we've been like pushing a lot of message about like fresh preservative-free food, and that really is not what excites people. Is oh, I found whatever, like bacon jam. Oh, amazing! Like I just like some interesting stuff. I found like a good julakia pickle, like interesting stuff, right? So the fact that it was made today is just part of the thing. So I'm just trying to what we are trying to still figure out is from a digital marketing perspective now. Our brand and everything is associated with a certain image that we wanted to push. Some consumers are interpreting it in a different manner. How do we marry the two when we are putting a digital?
So what are the products you have?
We have like biscuits, pickles, jams.
And these are all freshly made.
These are all made fresh every day and delivered fresh every day.
Okay.
Right. So and we deliver all across Mumbai. So essentially, it's sort of.
But when you say pickles, I mean pickles are supposed to last me.
Yeah. So pickles all these have a natural shelf life.
Okay.
So the pickles will last you like say a month, 2 months, which is the natural shelf life of a pickle. Say a dip or a cookie will last you a week. Okay, that's the natural shelf life of a cookie, right? So, but nothing has like any preservatives or anything.
Okay.
But now that's a very elitist sort of a thing.
It is.
Oh man, I eat preservative kind of free kind of food. But what people are more interested in is that you can get like really unique things which you don't get anywhere else. Right? So, for example, in pickles we have something known as a Coke pickle. We have something known as a Bhut Julakia pickle. In jams we have apple and dates jams, spiced apple jams, and like a lot of combinations because individuals like to. These are chefs who like to whatever like experiment and create new stuff. Right? Nobody wants to create another. I don't know. Even when they create hummus, they don't create like a normal hummus. People work on like a cilantro jalapeno hummus, right? So it's like very unique stuff. So what you won't get anywhere else. But to us initially that was like it was something that was an outcome of our fresh preservative approach. But it seems that that's what people are like.
Yeah, but that's what. So in the audience you're talking to, if you're talking the millennials as we call it, for them it's the Bhut Jalakia pickle is exciting. The pork pickle, the variety is exciting as opposed to the preservative piece. There is a small the no preservatives piece or the organic food piece and all these kind of the health food elements start from a 32 and above segment. That's where you start caring for it. Have you heard of Halibari, the coffee?
Yeah.
I mean, you know what they sell this thing on? It's good coffee. I really like their coffee, but they sell it at premium because they say the land that this coffee grows in, everything is organic. So the waters, whatever rainwater harvested. So your carbon footprint will come down by so much if you were to consume this coffee. Hence, our coffee is 4x the price. Do they have an audience? They have a serious audience who buys that kind of coffee. But then the audience that buys that is buying it for this element and not because it's not like the Indian bean house where you get multiple flavors. I buy it from there because I get to try other varieties on it. So in your case, clearly there are two different kinds of audience you need to speak to. So when you list down the objectives, we have the fact that you have this wide variety of things. That's a clear-cut communication that you should be out with first to get your word out. Okay. The fact that it's zero preservatives is the second run. So once you need to catch my attention first. You will never catch my attention by saying zero preservatives used because it's a word that I think is abused in advertising. With you know how a lot of whatever tomorrow Rin might come up with some 0% PMPO.
Yeah,
it's almost
the market says 100% real food.
Exactly. So
it has like 3% food.
So which is what that doesn't really. I'm immune to that as a thing. But then what I'm not immune to is when you say things like so if you were to change your strategy around and say that let's look at your products and I line up 5 products on this and say that okay, these are the 5 flagship products that are going to push the word around. And if I design like a beautiful looking post which is talking about one particular product, say the pork pickle. Okay, now that's the post that I've made, like with all the copy, the smart copy that goes with it, etc. We're not even playing the no preservatives piece on that one, and we put this out. This and lot more exciting such stuff available at soandso.com. And that's the push communication we put out on Facebook. Okay, through this whole reach push, the kind of audience we're talking to, let's identify that audience and we push that. So, say in this room, 15 of you who are, it comes up on your wall, okay, and you are the kind of people who like the, who would have probably gone and bought the Pico's Bhut Jolokia sauce for example. Okay, now you've got my attention when this comes up saying, like the bacon jam you were talking about, here's a pork pickle that's coming. And I'm looking at it saying that, wow, is this available? I click it, and when I click that ad, I'm guessing it leads to your website, right?
Right.
That's where.
Yeah.
So it leads me to the website where I get to see all these things.
Right.
Trust me, this is going to be a conversation I will have with 5 more people in my friends circle over beer, over drinks, over when I meet them or something like that. Because I didn't know that you had Bhut Jolokia pickle, because when you told me this, I'm telling you when I go back I'm going to have this conversation with 5 others because we're like huge fans of Bhut Jolokia stuff. So now you've got my attention on that. If you told me preservatives, that was the wrong communication, because I wouldn't really care on that front, because for me it's just like theek hai, so it's not going to make that much of it. While when you start your communication with this piece, once you've got my attention on this, saying that okay, here's the no preservatives piece can be the second rung of the campaign, while you say that hey, here is something that we're selling to you, and it also comes with 0 preservatives, comes with this, etc. It's an added advantage. So you've already struck gold with me. Now you're giving me something further. I'm happy to buy it even more. So that's the space. I actually want to just to answer this. Want to show you this particular piece. This is.
For over a decade, McDonald's have been trying to change the negative perceptions of their food. They've tried using traditional channels, but 50% of Australians still just don't trust their ingredients. It's clear they needed to change the way they tell their story and start inviting people to discover the stories for themselves. Introducing Track My Maccas, an augmented reality app that lets customers track some of the ingredients in the actual food they just bought. They simply point their phone at one of the 188 million specially designed boxes, and the app does the rest. The phone's GPS knows which restaurant you're in. Image recognition software knows what you're about to eat. And by combining this with the date and time, it accesses McDonald's vast and comprehensive supply chain in real time. The app gets tracking in an instant, pinpointing exactly where the ingredients came from. And that's where the fun starts. Cutting-edge 3D augmented reality brings it to life. Tables turn into stages, letting users pick an ingredient and find out all about it. The story changes depending on where they are in the country and who supplies that restaurant. Along the way, users can meet real farmers, bakers and fishermen who supply the ingredients. And then share what they discover on Facebook, inviting their friends to get tracking too. The mobile app is a whole new way for McDonald's to engage people directly in a conversation about their food. Other media reinforce the message, from truck sides and POS to location-specific posters individually tailored to local farms and suppliers, getting the freshness of their ingredients back on the agenda in a way that people not only engaged with, but will drive the conversation themselves. So, did people try it? You bet. It seems if you want to change people's opinions, don't just tell them, let them discover it for themselves.
They made it as complicated as they could, but they were still kind of trying to change their perception of saying, okay, it does come from natural ingredients, it's not one of those things kind of thing. And then they brought the message across. In your case, because you're saying 0 preservatives, it's a great peg to take, but health as a peg is, when you're selling pork pickle and when you're selling Bhut Jolokia, I don't think health is a peg that should be leading it. I think it should be led primarily by this variety that you have. So Facebook is going to be a key element for you on this front. We will lead it with Facebook to get to reach people and know that something like this exists. They will obviously then lead into your website. You can then use Twitter to start these conversations, jump into conversation, because if it's Bhut Jolokia, it means people who like spicy food, right? So you can jump into conversations of people who like spicy food, start targeting them and say, hey, if you think that was spicy, try this kind of a thing. So it there are multiple avenues that you take. I think you've got, if you were talking about preservatives, probably that's not the way to go. If you move into this space of things, it's definitely going to change the game for you on that one. Also, you have a great name, right? It's called Yamesh.
Young maid.
So,
Young maid.
Young maid.
Yeah.
Okay. So I actually heard Yamesh. So I
Yummy.
thought it's like fresh and okay. So yeah, so getting that the fact that that name, is there a wordplay around the name that you can do so that sticks in somebody's head? Because tomorrow, if I turn to a friend of mine and say, listen, yesterday something came up on my wall called pork pickle, and did you try it ever? And he's going to ask me, what was it called? So either you've got your SEO bang on that if I search pork pickle and Bombay, I find you first. Okay, these are keywords you'll have to definitely end up buying, or it's a name that's just at the back of my mind that I can say. Invariably, the name will take a while to build. So your SEO in terms of this needs to be perfected as well. In terms find the right keywords to use. So these are the key. Spiciest pickle in Bombay. Boom. It should show you. It should lead to your website. So these are things that people will look for. These are things that people will be searching for. You can even start because of the kind of product range beyond just Facebook and everything. I would use Google as a larger platform to do this. If people are searching for such unique things, say the best pork burger in India, in Bombay, the minute when I Google that, I see AdWords that come up on the site, and if you can throw in your ad over there saying that after your pork burger, would you want a pork pickle? That's something that would catch. So you're catching the attention of a person who's already looking for something like that. So that would be a great SEM and SEO strategy would be great for you on that front beyond just any of these just primary digital platforms. Okay, cool.
Does anybody has questions? Otherwise, we'll wrap the session. Thank you. Any questions for him? No? Will you be sharing the presentation? Are you okay with sharing the presentation?
I'm okay, but this is a keynote file, so
Okay.
I have to give you.
Fine, not a problem.
I'll mail it across to you.
Yeah, not a problem. So we'll be sharing the presentation with all of y'all. Okay, so that will be a good recap for you. Yeah, thank you very
Alright,
much, Rohit.
thanks a lot.
Thanks a ton.
You can reach me on Twitter or on my email.
Yeah, so if you guys don't mind, the session was on digital marketing. So can you guys tweet thank you